You heard us start the day and talk about the importance of the impact we have individually, and I mentioned that it starts with us. We also know that there's a lot of individual businesses in this room and clients that we've been able to tell their stories in regards to they're not waiting around for the world to tell them how to lead, they're just doing it differently. And we've had the privilege at Gallup to do that with clients for decades. And so this morning, I'm excited for you guys to get to hear from one of Gallup's clients that we've worked with for over 20 years. The Senior Director of Talent Management. She has the leadership role in what's called Stryker Orthopedic Group. So those of you that don't know Stryker, they're a global company, and one of the things they do is make artificial hips and knees. So they love those of you that are into extreme sports, keep jumping out of airplanes, busting up those hips. They got you covered. They got you covered. So one of the things, too, that I love about Donna is she beautifully integrates her passion for strengths with her passion for diversity and inclusion. She merges both of those together to not only change the culture of her company, but also to help individuals accomplish both their personal and professional goals. I was talking to Jim Clifton, our CEO, yesterday, and he said of the clients we've had over the last 20 years, he could make a really strong argument that there's nobody that knows strengths and has integrated it fully into a global company as well as Donna. She resides in Newbury, England with her husband, Richard, who she told me this morning also has Maximizer #1 like her. So she said if anybody knows how to adjust that, to deal with that, to medicate that, and I don't know if she was talking about hers or his, maybe both, maybe mine, I don't know. We're excited to have her teach us this morning some of those very practical things that she's learned at Stryker in regards to how to take strengths and leverage it to really transform the culture in a way that creates performance and purpose. Please give a warm welcome to Donna.
Good morning. I'm just going to start out by telling you I am not as confident of my backside as Johnny C. Taylor is. Fact. Yeah. So I'm going to start out by apologizing to 50% of you every single time I move on this crazy stage, okay? So there we go. Well, I'm delighted to be here, and I would like to tell you a little bit about me and about my company. But I'm going to tell you first that I'm very close with my dad. Definitely a daddy's girl. Any other daddy girls here? I'll tell you what, when he would go someplace, since I just could walk, I was the Me Too person. As soon as he touched his keys, I was at the front door and take me with you. No errand too small, too mundane that I didn't want to go with him. So one summer night, we go to get gas. Very exciting. At a gas station that looked a little bit like this. Now I realize I'm probably dating myself for those of you, that haven't seen this. And I know I was sitting in the back seat, and I had to be about 5 or 6 because my legs were still sticking straight out. They didn't bend yet on the seat. And the gas station attendant comes up to the window, and my dad says, "Fill her up." So he puts the pump into the car, and the numbers start twirling. And he goes and he checks the oil under the hood, and he brings the dipstick over to my dad to show him level was good, just so you know. He gets that squeegee thing out, and he does the windows. Goes around and checks the air pressure in all 4 tires. And he gets back to the window just as that pump pops, and the tank is full. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was so elegant, such style. Such choreography, such, talent, right? And I got a little excited, and I remember feeling like happy inside, and I had these like goosebumps and stuff, and I distinctly remember thinking, I think I love him. I did. I think I love him. And so now 18 years ago, I heard about this thing called strengths. And it really resonated with me, and I knew that it could be a differentiator for our company. I knew it. And so we spent a little bit of time. I mean, I know I'm a psychologist, right? So I know a little bit about people. I've also been married a couple of times. Yeah, a couple. So I know that people don't change that much. People are who they are. Anybody else here tried to change a spouse or an ex-spouse? I can't be the only one, right? How'd that go for you? Yeah. So if I thought, if people are who they are, then what if we could help them to know who they are? And I mean really know who they are. And know from a strengths perspective. And then get them to take those strengths and put them towards something for a purpose. Now, I get the Gallup and Stryker sometimes mixed up, which company. I was Stryker's first certified strengths coach. And I remember, anybody high maximizer, low includer? Yeah. Okay, I picked the 6, not too many, talented, of course, people that I wanted to go on that course with me, right? I handpicked them. And Louisa Warren, who was and thankfully still is our London Gallup consultant, taught us a new language in those couple days. The same one here that we've learned, right? And I learned a lot about myself, and I also learned a lot about other people. Like, they weren't doing what they did to aggravate me. That's who they are, and I found some small comfort in that. But also, other than learning about myself, I learned about other people, and I think that strength's one of its greatest gifts. That it teaches us to be tolerant, it teaches us to be understanding, and ultimately teaches us to accept other people. And I know personally it's made me a much more inclusive person in my thinking. So you can't talk about Stryker without talking about strengths anymore, and you also can't talk about Stryker without talking about performance. So just to let you know, fast forward 18 years and we have had 38,000 people go through strengths. And we've got over 250 coaches dedicated to helping people reach their professional and their personal goals. Okay? But you can see our performance here. 38 years of 17% CAGR, compounded annual growth rate on net sales. We are driven. We are performance-orientated. If it can be measured, we measure it, and we don't round up any numbers. Okay? So for us, strengths is not a soft, feel-good kind of thing that we just do for people. We do it for driving excellence performance over time. We received a lot of recognition for this. Probably the most important one here today that isn't up there is we've won the Gallup Great Workplace Award 11 times. Yeah. And we're proud, very proud of these awards. And, people say, well, why would people want to come to Stryker, and why would they stay at Stryker? And, I'll share that with you, but I have to say, we all know that the world of work has changed, right? People want different things. They're challenging traditional management styles. Our workers want different things. They want different work arrangements. A few people have said that 85% of the global workforce is not engaged. And 18% of that 85 is loudly, or worse, silently, resentful. Okay? So it's changed a lot. And they're looking for different things. They're looking for us to move from a performance management culture to a performance development culture. They're looking for us to move from being the boss to being the coach. And we've got a question on our employee engagement survey that asks, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 high, my manager maintains a coaching relationship with me that emphasizes my strengths. And this past year, 28,000 people took it, and 75% of them put a 4 or 5. So it's pretty good. Still room for improvement. I call that job security. Okay? So why would they come to Stryker? Well, certainly they come for the growth. Believe me, we worked hard for that growth. It did not come easy. And we're very performance-oriented. It's part of our DNA is to keep pushing and keep raising the bar. So definitely the growth is a big part of it. The culture. You have to purposefully build a culture. If you do not, one will be built for you. And you may not like it. And so we're focused on building a diverse and inclusive culture. And we're paying attention to things like parental leave and supporting our transgender employees and flexible work, and those things that will matter to talented people so they'll be drawn to come to Stryker, right? So we're using strengths for a purpose. We're using it for growth, and we're using it to build our culture. Then you get to the people. We have what we call the talent offense, which means how are we selecting, engaging, developing, and retaining our talented employees. Kevin Lobo, our CEO, he says this is the foundation of our strategy, is this talent offense of what we do. And he shares that with investors and with customers and with employees. Kevin says people are the magic. I like that. And I think it's true. And I do think that people are the only true competitive advantage that companies have today. So the people for sure. And then there's the work. And I'll say more about this in a minute. But suffice to say for now that I've had 2 roles at Stryker that never existed until I made a case for them. It's kind of cool, right? I was able to change careers within my company without changing companies. And the more you help people with their strengths, the more they know who they are and what they're good at and what they love to do, the better the chances are that they're going to get in a role that they get to do that. And when that happens, they're engaged. And when they're engaged, they stay, right? So it's a fundamental piece of what we do is the work. Now I'm going to show us just a 2-minute video here and let my employees tell you a little bit more about Stryker.
I love working for Stryker.
Stryker is a great place to work, and I love being here.
Stryker is an amazing place to be.
The minute you walk through that door, you know you are part of something special.
The people here are remarkably driven, and we get incredible results.
我们对我们所做的事情充满激情。
Honesty is a part of who we are.
Noi crediamo che quello che facciamo è molto importante.
We win because we work hard and we work with integrity.
We don't hope for success. We plan for it, we work for it, and we earn it.
We support each other and look out for each other.
We push each other to set bigger goals and we help each other to achieve them.
I am constantly challenged to be my best.
Esperamos ganar todos los días.
Our customers and their patients deserve that.
I've learnt more about myself,
what my strengths are,
and how I can use them to drive my career.
Stryker has invested in me and my future.
At Stryker, I own my career.
There are so many different places Stryker can take me in the next 5 years.
I'm genuinely excited to come to work every day.
I love Stryker because we are like a family.
We laugh and joke every day.
I have purpose.
We're loyal to our customers and each other.
I'm with Stryker because I know that these products change the lives of patients.
It's inspiring to think of all the lives we've helped change for the better.
Our customers and our patients are the heart of everything we do.
Every stride we make is for them.
We're always striving for more because we believe in Stryker.
Together
with our
customers,
we are driven
to make
healthcare better.
Our mission guides everything that we do, and our talented employees bring our mission to life each and every day. Stryker is a great place to work because of our people. Great people with a strong mission and values can accomplish great things together.
Thank you. Together with our customers, we are driven to make healthcare better. 11 simple words that connect all of us. And so, yeah, we use strengths for a purpose, for outstanding performance, to build an inclusive culture, to manage our careers. But we also do it with purpose, and that's where it gets exciting, right? With our purpose aligned to our mission, every single employee. We had a woman who recently retired, and she used to kiss every defibrillator, I kid you not, before she put it in the box and said, now go save some lives. Everyone. My husband and I were recently in New Jersey, and we couldn't get an official tour guide, so I decided to give him one of my special tours, which means we walk around and just say to people, what do you do? Yeah. And they're very proud, and they'll tell you what they do. And this one guy named Eduardo, he says, I make knees. And I said, really, you do? And he went and got some pieces, and he brought them over and showing us how they work. My husband has intellection, so we could have been there all day. But we weren't. And he says, as a matter of fact, I had to go have a knee replacement. And when I came back, I looked at the serial number from my implant, and I made that knee. Huh? Yeah. And I said, so how'd you feel about that? And he leaned over and he gave me the cheekiest little smile and he said, very confident. You must be in the right role, right? So that was pretty cool. There's another person I want you to meet, and his name is Michael Hatcher. And Michael Hatcher works as a field service technician in our medical division. That's the one that makes the hospital beds and the stretchers. Those of you that work in hospitals and know, probably, hopefully know Stryker and the yellow EMS cot, right? Yeah, that's where he works. And so he touches those beds every day. Well, he got a phone call. His mom had died at a very young age, and so his mother-in-law, who he knew since he was very young, was like a mother to him. And he got a phone call that she had a stroke. And so he rushed from Missouri to Seattle to spend just a couple of minutes with her before she passed. And he said it was then that the true impact of his work really hit him. And I brought Michael's words, what he told me, because I wanted you to hear what he said, not me just telling you what he said. And here's what he said. I know every part of those beds, every piece down to the last bolt. I must have leaned on those side rails hundreds of times, checking functions and tightening screws and greasing movable parts. But sitting next to one of those beds with one of my loved ones in it, that gave it a whole new meaning. I realized this bed was the last thing she would cling to, and it would be the last thing that I would remember seeing her in. When I think of Stryker, it's not just a company or a product, it's a culture of people who are all on the same mission to take care of patients. When I walked into her room and I said my goodbyes, I felt like I had the support of everyone who had ever laid hands on that bed. You see, the products we make aren't just products. They are things that are in people's lives, often at the most vulnerable time. And so you never know who's going to be in there or when one of our products are going to be used. I started at this division 19 years ago. It's my first job as a recruiter. And, I lost my dad 10 weeks ago today. Almost to the hour for those of you who got connectedness. Can you believe it? Like to the hour, 10 weeks ago today. And he was in a Stryker bed, and so now I know. When I first heard this story, I felt Michael's story, but now I understand it. 19 years of friends and colleagues dedicated to this were there with me when my dad passed. And that makes a huge, big difference. So yeah, we run a business, right? It's got to be about performance. It has to be. But for us, it's also about mission. It's about not just strengths for a purpose, but with a purpose, right? It's not our strengths on one hand and our work on the other. We are our strengths, and those strengths are our work. Now, I wish I could tell you that we're all done, but we're not. Again, job security. Dawn will be appreciating that as well. Okay? And so what we have to do is we need to continue to build a culture, especially of people managers, that know how to lead great teams. And building a true coaching culture will be key to making that happen. So I'll just share one slide with you on what we're doing. We have an approach called Let's Chat. And it's basically 5 conversations that happen throughout the life cycle of an employee per year. It's, setting their goals and having career discussions and development discussions, and even the crucial conversations where you have opportunities to grow. Yeah, even those. And we teach managers about their strengths so that they can understand how they lead and how they coach and how they impact the people the magic, that are under their care. And we want our managers to know that these processes reinforce each other. We want them to be confident and comfortable to have the conversations. And we also want feedback to be an expected element, a constant element of our culture. That's why they call it feedback. A rocket is off course up to 97% of the time. So a little bit of feedback, a little bit of coaching goes a long way. We've still got a long way to go, but I think we've had a 20-year good start. And I'm just going to say, I often think about that gas station attendant, my first love. And I kind of wonder where he is right now. Does this story sound familiar? Because maybe he's here. No? Okay, just checking. I'm married again now, happily, though. I did StrengthsFinder on him before I married him. That was it. It worked. Highly recommend it. But I do wonder what's going on with him. You know, I wonder if he had, like achiever or maybe competition. He wanted to get this all done faster than his buddies, right? Or maybe he had a ranger. He found the most elegant and resourceful way to get this done. Maybe he had belief that he didn't just pump gas, but he got people where they needed to go and where they needed to be. I can only surmise, I don't know. But what I do know is that if you use strengths for purpose and with your purpose, it makes all the difference. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.